Hello again, everyone. This is the second volume of the Save UNBC video series. I've again volunteered to narrate this presentation. Save UNBC are a group of people who are very concerned about what's been happening at UNBC for the past 10 years or more. The group includes faculty, current and past faculty members of UNBC, some staff members, and also some alumni who have graduated from UNBC and have gone out in the world and are very concerned about what's been happening at UNBC. The information that is used as the basis for this video is very well documented, and most of it's available online if you want to go out and look for it. The information in this video has also been circulated to the appropriate parties, including both major political parties in British Columbia, also some local leadership in the Prince George community. What you're seeing on the screen right now is actually the cover of the first UNBC calendar that was published in 1994 for the 1994-95 year, which is 30 years ago now, of course. But for this video, we're going to go back over 20 years, and it concerns the academic history of the president of UNBC. The documented academic history of the current president of UNBC are not consistent. There are many irregularities, and they give you pause for thought, certainly. Now, first we're going to look at a video, though, that was an interview conducted by John Brink in Prince George. He's a local entrepreneur who does a podcast interview kind of show, and he interviews local people from the community. In this video from about 2 years ago, John Brink interviews the president of UNBC. In this interview, the president of UNBC states very clearly that he attended Memorial University in Newfoundland, where he completed his doctoral studies, and after completing his doctoral studies, he went to Yale for a postdoctoral program for a great number of years. That statement is certainly not consistent with information that is easily found online. The entire interview with John Brink lasts about 48 minutes, but we've just selected the portion that is relevant to our discussion today.
Hello, my name is John Brink, and
So I grew up in St. John's. I went to school there, did all my university education there.
At Memorial.
At Memorial, and then I went on to Yale University and did a postdoctoral.
And Yale University is a very famous university.
Yes, yeah, very famous university. It was a great opportunity to go and
Yale, Harvard, all at that same level.
All
right?
at that same level, yeah. So it was great to it was a bit of a cultural shock to go from St. John's to New Haven, Connecticut.
I would say, yeah.
But we had a great number of years there, and from there, opportunity presented itself to join the Northern Medical Program.
So you did your master's at Memorial,
Yeah.
your doctorate at Memorial, and then your PhD.
No, so the doctorate at Memorial, and then after I got my doctorate degree, I then went on to Yale and did a postdoctoral. It's not really
What does that mean, really? Because
the best way that I describe it to people is almost like an apprenticeship. So you've got your trade,
right.
You've got your sort of ticket, and you're going to work with somebody to sort of expand on your knowledge and skills and things like that. So I got my PhD, and then when I was at Yale, spent a number of years sort of doing different types of research and things related to my field.
So now the background.
The complete Brink interview and many other Brink interviews are available on YouTube, and they're well worth looking at. What you see on the screen right now is the outline for what we're going to talk about right now, which is the academic history of the current president of UNBC. It's riddled with mysteries and inconsistencies that we're now going to touch upon. First, we have information from the president's LinkedIn page that was revoked a while ago. This information was saved, though, before the page was revoked. All of his degrees were received from Memorial University in Newfoundland, MUN. May 1995, Bachelor of Science, Psychology. May 1998, Master of Science, Medicine. July 2003, PhD, Medicine. Memorial's convocation brochures from May 1995 and May 1998, respectively, confirmed that bachelor's and master's degrees were received. Memorial did not have a convocation in July 2003, but they did have convocations in October 2003 and May 2004, and the president's name was not found in either convocation. The president's LinkedIn page also showed that from July 2003 until June 2004, which is about 1 year, that he was at Yale University as a postdoctoral researcher. The Rocket Reach website, which is a similar website to LinkedIn, states that his doctoral degree, PhD, was for Memorial in 2002 and not 2003. So there's another inconsistency. Now, looking at Yale University from the same time period, Yale University publishes a document called the Bulletin, and they publish it annually. The president of UNBC appears in the Yale Bulletin for 3 years, from 2001 to 2004, as a postdoctoral fellow. The Yale Bulletin is a credible publication, so you would have to assume that the president of UNBC was at Yale between 2001 and 2004. Moreover, the chair of the Cellular and Molecular Physiology Department at Yale has also confirmed that the president was a postdoctoral fellow at Yale within this time period. But how did he get into a postdoctoral program without having completed his doctoral studies? We're now halfway down the page that's on the screen. We're going into the year 2003, which is a notable academic year for the current UNBC president. On the 16th of January 2003, he co-authored a paper revision submitted from Memorial where he stated his qualification as Master of Science. It was published online on May the 15th, 2003, and he had an opportunity before that date to update his degree qualifications. Now, in the same month, 2 weeks later, 31st of January 2003, he co-authored a paper from Yale University as a postdoctoral fellow. Please note, the January 16th paper from Memorial did not mention his Yale affiliation, and the January 31st paper from Yale did not mention his Memorial affiliation. Now we'll jump to about 6 months later in July of 2003. On the 28th of July 2003, his doctoral PhD thesis defense was scheduled for 10:30 a.m. at Memorial University in Newfoundland. 3 days later, on the 31st of July 2003, his doctoral thesis was submitted to the Memorial Library. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there is no record in Memorial's convocation programs in late 2003 or early 2004 that indicate that the current UNBC president was ever given his doctoral degree. Now, is that just an oversight by Memorial, or is there something a bit more serious involved here? But in 2004, the current president of UNBC was hired by the University of British Columbia, UBC, Faculty of Medicine for the Northern Medical Program in Prince George. We now have a new page on the screen for you to look at, and I'll draw from that. This is further assessment of events. It's kind of a summary. All information was gathered from publicly available sources, most of which are online and easily accessible. LinkedIn retracted or removed the page of the current UNBC president as it infringed on their policies on false and misleading information. Yale University does not allow entry to their postdoctoral program unless the candidate has completed all of the requirements for their doctoral studies. The president of UNBC would not have qualified to be at Yale from 2001 to 2003, but he was there. The policies of Memorial University would not allow a candidate to go to Yale for 2 years for their postdoctoral position and then return to Memorial for a doctoral defense. The UNBC president left Memorial to join Yale for his postdoctoral position in 2001. This would have disqualified him from being a doctoral student at Memorial after 2001. He could not have defended his doctoral degree 2 years later in 2003 without violating Memorial's regulations. During the John Brink interview, the UNBC president states clearly that he completed his doctoral studies at Memorial before attending Yale for his postdoctoral for a great number of years. Those statements are not consistent with the documented evidence. The president's supervisors at both Memorial and Yale have declined to discuss his academic history or his academic credentials. They must be aware that there is a problem, or else they would have answered the very simple questions that were asked of them. However, one of the co-authors of the president during his time at Yale has expressed concern, stating that scientists and teachers assume that an applicant is honest and truthful, but even with safeguards, a crafty individual can perpetuate a fraud. The current president of UNBC has held many positions at UBC and UNBC. It appears that no one has carefully examined his academic credentials or has asked questions about the many irregularities in his history. This sentiment was also expressed by the same co-author at Yale, who stated that it appears everyone involved in the president's academic history is aware of the discrepancies, but is willing to ignore and suppress them due to the potential implications. UNBC should post an honest and accurate version of the president's CV to their website. It should be noted that this information has been requested multiple times, including during the president's feedback request regarding his reappointment. However, the CV request has been declined numerous times and has never been made publicly available. UNBC must be transparent in its practices and be publicly accountable to the citizens of British Columbia. UNBC is a publicly funded institution where senior administrators are paid enormous sums. Universities profess to operate at the highest standard. Integrity and transparency are core values. UNBC may have abused their public funding in an effort to harass or silence whistleblowers. The taxpayers of British Columbia deserve the truth. In summary, there must be a thorough investigation of the current UNBC president and the operation of the UNBC Board of Governors. This must include a careful examination of documents, the appropriate financial records, and include confidential interviews with current and former employees who must also be protected from retaliation by the university. If you would like to review these documents again, I'm going to post them to the Save UNBC Facebook page. Hopefully they'll be easier to read at that location. We hope that you understand why this is a serious situation, and we hope that you continue to watch this series from Save UNBC.